Good morning, everybody. It's Tina Frank from Arizona. I hate to tell you, no, I don't. It's amazing weather right here, right now. So excited. It's going to be in the 70s today. And by the way, I'm the mature Christian woman, although that statement probably didn't say that. Christian woman as part of this conversation. And my co host, amazing.
Hi, everyone. Bonnie Violet here. I'm a transgender queer drag queen, and I'm glad that you all could join us today. It is in San Francisco. It's kind of nice too, in comparison to
Awesome.
say like Chicago or
Yeah.
they're getting lots of snow over there.
I heard that my friend is from Wisconsin, and we walked this morning early, and she said it was like minus 20 there. And I'm like, oh my goodness, not enough money in the world.
Right. It's weird. I kind of miss the weather. I miss like the thing that I miss about Chicago is like the full year of weather, because like you have a fairly intense winter and a fairly like a warm summer, and that's kind of it. But it's like the city's made to be cold, so like you leave from one warm place to another warm place, you dress appropriately, so it's kind of like whatever, but it's kind of like a hibernation state, I think. And then the summertime's like kind of manic. It's slightly humid, which is different because we didn't grow up
right
humidity, so that was a little bit to get used to, but it was
nice. We don't have humidity here either, which is amazing. I've gone to places during certain times of the year where there's humidity, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, when you don't grow up in it, it can be a little like I want to say oppressive sounds a little intense, but it can be
it
can be uncomfortable for sure.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Nana, I've got great weather here.
Right. Well, and then I moved to the not sunny part of California.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys have rain there most of the time, don't you? Or clouds at least?
Well, it's you just always have to carry a sweater or a jacket, or it's weird. We were joking about this yesterday because you'll still find yourself out like in a pair of shorts and like a little t-shirt, and then it's like 5 o'clock and it's like freezing, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't bring any pants or jacket or sweater. Yeah.
That's funny. So you always have to carry a backpack with some extra clothes in it.
Kind of, and that's kind of annoying, but and then usually, like for me, I feel like half the time I'm carrying around all this extra baggage, if you will, that I'm not even going to access. So
that's so funny.
I used to that's one thing I know. I used to always I don't know if this says a lot about me, but I used to always carry around like with a bag and stuff everywhere I went, and in that bag I would have like just so much crap, and half the time I wouldn't even like open the bag where I went or like get into any of this stuff. And so I've really tried to not carry around as much extra stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Layering, I know that can be old school, but I guess got to tell you, I like to be able to put on my jacket or tie it around my waist or wherever I need to tie it. The other day I was walking, it was cold when we left, so I had a scarf on and I had my jacket on, and I had some little, those little lightweight gloves on. So I put those on. So I had taken my gloves off and put them in my pocket. I went ahead and I loosened up my scarf because I was starting to get hot. Next thing I know, my scarf's off. So I tied it around my waist. Then my jacket zipped down, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Then finally my jacket's off, tied around my waist. My scarf is tied around my waist on top of my jacket. I probably look like some sort of a clown walking down the street. But anyway, I try not to carry a lot of extra stuff either. It's crazy. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
That was a long nana. Sorry.
Right. Well, I feel like we could take that into a serious space, because I mean, I feel like that also could have a lot to do with like, I don't know. I'm kind of like one of those people that, like, have you like, if I like clean my room or like move the living room furniture around or do those sorts of things, it kind of like resets some things for me. So it's like, it's really helpful. So I think by me choosing not to carry around a bunch of crap I don't need, I think it's kind of reflective of like letting go of some of the crap that I've carried around, whether it's emotional baggage or unhelpful, unuseful thoughts, perceptions, those sorts of things.
Gotcha. That's a good analogy.
Yeah. So I think it's helpful sometimes to have that the physicality.
Yeah.
It kind of like, I don't know if it programs the brain, or I don't know if I'm just like special or whatever, but I tend to find it helpful.
Yeah, I get that. I'm going through a purging and of material things right now myself. So
Mhm.
it's very, very freeing, and I love having a space for everything. So it's a progress. It's work in progress. I'm not there yet, but we're definitely making big strides toward that. So
Right.
hey, I saw you on a show this weekend. Tell us
Yeah.
a little about that. It was
Yeah.
awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had the opportunity of producing or co-producing a show with my sister, my girlfriend. I don't know. We're really close friends, and Linda Summers, and she was hosting a fundraiser for Larkin Youth Services, which is a youth program here in San Francisco that helps homeless and like unstably housed young people, and kind of getting just getting into like employment and education and those sorts of things. And Linda went through the program, so it's great that she's kind of at a place now where she can raise money for
That's
an
awesome.
organization that was so helpful to her. Yeah, and it was my first time kind of producing a show. We do this thing, and
Yeah.
um, keep it fairly simple. Sometimes we put like the little framework and stuff, but like this was a little bit different with just transitioning from like one performance to another performance, and
Yeah. You guys had a
different.
lot of talent on there. I
Yeah,
didn't get to the whole thing because I kind of got logged in a little late.
what
But
do you
you
think of
had
the show?
I thought it was good. I thought Linda did a great job hosting,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone I thought did a really nice job with their performances. So I hope you guys were able to raise some money. I don't know how long it lasts, but I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure that they made some coin, and we definitely had a good time for sure.
Yeah,
What
it looked like you guys were having fun.
have you been to too many drag shows?
I haven't been to a lot, and I have to be honest, a lot of the ones I've seen have been video. I don't know that
Mhm.
I've maybe been to one or two.
Well, you and I went to
Yeah,
one
yeah,
back when I first did drag really like a couple of times back. Gosh, I was like 20, because
yeah,
I wasn't old enough to drink in the bars, but I could perform.
yeah. And
And
were you a server there too?
yeah, I was a
Yeah,
cocktail server at the Park Bar, and that's where I had to. Well, they had like this at the time. They called it like an opposite sex day, which we might call like, I don't know. We might call it something different today.
yeah.
But basically, if you were assigned male at birth, then you like dressed in like femme drag, and if you were assigned female at birth, then you would dress in more masculine drag. And so I kind of had to do that for work, and I did the first time I did it. I looked a little bit like Jennifer Grey from
Okay,
Dirty Dancing, like
okay. Yeah, yeah.
before the nose job. um, but yeah, but then after doing that, then like, a club owner asked me to then perform at their show, and I didn't really even know what I was doing. And that was back when
That's
Britney Spears
fun.
was hot and
Yeah, yeah.
Christina Aguilera. I think you saw me perform Genie in a Bottle,
I
right?
think I think so. Yeah,
And I
yeah,
had like this little silver outfit.
yeah, yeah. That was funny. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good time.
So yeah, so it's been a while. So it was cool. I was able to log on, so that made it really comfortable for me. I was in the middle of some of the things that I was doing, and I just sat down and took a break, and I really enjoyed the entertainment. So it
Yeah.
was good.
Well, San Francisco drag has kind of, I think, its own little like flavor too. You have a lot more of the kind of,
Were,
huh?
were all those performers from San Francisco?
Um,
I thought there was some from other places, but I could be mistaken.
yeah, no, actually, I do think they all were like Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
Oh, cool.
yeah, and they,
Oh, I bet the drag shows that you're in the Bay Area then are pretty amazing.
yeah. I mean, there's lots of really great drag, and San Francisco tends to have a little bit more of an edge to it, maybe, or a punk. I don't know, like I feel like they try to like bend the gender and kind of break the rules a little bit.
Gotcha.
Um, not that there's really rules to drag, but some people kind of might choose a
Yeah.
certain way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, I didn't watch Super Bowl, and I know you mentioned you didn't either. So I don't even know who won the game. Do you have any idea?
I know that Tampa Bay won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
the Buccaneers, which was also, is it Tom Brady?
Oh, I
Uh,
have no idea.
he's like a quarterback. And he won like his 7th Super Bowl, I think, or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. You know what? I think that's the guy I don't like. Because didn't
Oh,
he cheat one time when he was with the Patriots? Didn't he like deflate the balls or
mm,
is that guy? I think he deflated the balls. I was
I've
really kind of mad that he got to keep his Super Bowl ring.
yeah, that sounds a little scandalous, huh?
Yeah, I was like, come on, if you or I would have done that, we'd have been in big trouble.
Right. I've never
So
heard of
anyway, I think that's the same guy. So
it.
yeah, I would have voted against him then, just for on principle alone.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much about him or
Me,
football really.
well,
Um,
until this year, I usually watch it because of the commercials. And
right.
I heard there weren't going to be a whole lot of commercials. So if
Mhm.
someone is out there and you did have a nice, fun commercial, give me a link because I'd like to watch it. I didn't watch the halftime show, which had intended to log on because I wanted to hear the poem,
Mhm.
and I missed it. So I'm going to have to go out online and find it.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to find it all on YouTube. The way
I,
things are anymore, it's like you don't have to watch anything as it
I
happens.
know. I know. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice in some ways because at least you can see it. Otherwise you just kind of go without. But remember when we used to have to like schedule our time? It's like, oh, it's Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. I got to get home so that I can watch like whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that. I remember. And I don't miss that at all. I love being able to just find whatever I want and get it going.
right. Hi, herding cats. Herding cats for you. You know, it says
Oh,
knows nothing. Yeah. I know, right? I was like, that's okay. Herding cats, just because some folks only listen to this audio. We're laughing because we read the comment, but herding cats for you says, I know nothing about Tom Brady's balls either. So somebody always has to go there, right?
it's all good.
And speaking of folks, if you are listening to us, feel free to, say things to us. If you'd love to hear us talk about something, that would be great too. We actually were kind of like, this morning we were like, what do we talk about? Because we hadn't really been super into the news or like what's going on. So it's like, what's new to talk about?
Yeah.
It's going on in the world. But
Anyway,
uh,
I did have a glitch come across my phone, or not a glitch, but a little news thing. Something about all of the executive orders that are being signed right now. So I
mm,
haven't done a whole lot of looking into that, but I'm like, wait a second, is there a process that needs to be taken here? So I'm assuming the first ones are all the ones that he's redoing of Trump's,
mm,
which makes sense. Most presidents do that.
yeah.
Um, but I'm understanding there's some new ones now that they're just signing, and there's not been a
Mm,
whole lot of conversation. I heard it
uh,
was, so I don't know. I don't know if it's
yeah,
a topic
it
people
is
want to talk about or you know
right.
anything about.
It is definitely it is kind of common for presidents to do that, like right away, is to have some of those executive orders.
Mm-hmm.
But Tracy says hello. Hi, Tina and Bonnie. Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy. Tracy just built this amazing, I don't know what she called it. She had a fancy word. It's a place for all her kittens and her cats. She rescues cats in
Oh,
Tucson, Arizona, and she built this beautiful space all by herself. I was so impressed. She's awesome. So
I
thanks,
wonder,
Tracy.
I know. I wonder if Tracy would have anything in common with herding cats for you. How
Oh.
how interesting is that, huh?
Ah,
It's a catio.
a catio. Okay, I knew there was a word. I'm thinking I knew she had something. It wasn't. So that is cool. So she did a great job. She even built the cat trees inside there in the shelves. It's pretty cool.
Oh, nice. That sounds really
Yeah,
interesting.
her cats are really spoiled. It sounds like to me. But hey,
Yeah. Hey, pets do so much for people. It's like why not treat them, like better, I guess, and create things for them. One I've noticed that a lot of folks in COVID and shelter in place, like are getting pets. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Herding cats says meow.
Ah,
Meow back at you. But yeah, I've noticed. And my roommate, she's actually getting a dog here, which will be nice. I grew up around pets, so that was
yeah.
cute. But as an adult, I haven't had many, except for like when I was in like serious relationships. I guess my ex husband and I had
Oh, funny.
we had a couple of dogs. I had a Bella with Travis and a Bella with Dustin. Two
Oh.
different dogs, same name.
I'm finding I've never, since I don't know if it's because we grew up around animals, that we don't. I never really wanted pets.
Mm.
My husband though loves cats, and when we got married, he had dogs and cats, and so we've always had a cat. And now, oh my goodness, we got this sweet little cat, and I think I talk to that cat more than I talk to people. It's
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah. Well, and they're going to be nice to you about it. They're not going to,
That is
they might,
true.
they might snub you a little bit, but they're not going to like call you names or nothing. Tracy says, yeah, she says it's her first time listening. So thank you for joining us. And she says that, yes, our adoptions are up. We can't keep them in the pet store.
Awesome. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I just hope that it kind of stays that way because, I would just hate that like everyone gets back to being busy again or whatever. And then,
Uh,
they start like they give up their pets or whatever. I don't know. I'd hate to see that happen.
yeah, me too. Me
But
too.
maybe it'll cause people to maybe change their lifestyles. I know that's what's kept me from having in particular, a dog. It's like I just don't have the time nor the lifestyle that would be great for having a dog. At least I don't think.
Yeah.
Hi, Landa Lakes. Landa says, if we go into politics, what's your thoughts on the complicated realities of the idea of a forgotten white working class?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I just need a little clarification on forgotten, that it just goes away, or I don't know.
Right.
I'm happy to address and talk about it.
Okay, that'd be great. Maybe Landa can clarify that a little bit.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the complicated realities of the idea of forgotten white working class? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're always going to have people out there working. That's just how the world runs. People going out there and doing their thing. So I just need to understand the forgotten part.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like a lot of the times you might not hear as much. I don't know if this is where land is going or not, and but like I don't know if it's the idea that we might not hear as much about. I mean, I feel like in a lot of the conversations nowadays, we might be talking more about the struggles of POCs, like people of color, and maybe not talking about as much of like white poor people. That's what kind of comes to thought, but I'm not so sure that's what we're talking about. But I know, I mean, that feels relevant to me because I know, like, for a long time, I used to think, like, I used to, I mean, because we grew up poor, we didn't have access, like getting education, growing, there's like a lot of just different experiences that we had growing up poor. And I used to think like, oh, well, my struggle is the same as a person of colors. And what I've come to realize is that's not the case. Like there's other layers to it. So Landa did add a little bit more clarification.
Okay.
It's primarily the rural people that often feel they are forgotten and stereotyped. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the idea of kind of like, I mean, I've I've said this and it's not in a way, but I mean, I feel like people who are not us, who are not me, would probably look at the way that I grew up and probably label us as white trash, which I don't like that term, but I feel like that's kind of what we're speaking of, is that stereotype that rural folks are dumb or ignorant, that they I don't know, it's like that kind of mentality that comes up around, I think, different things. But
Well, yeah. I think I think a lot of the stereotypes come from what we see coming out of. I don't want to pick on Hollywood, but when you watch a movie, when you see a rural person or a farmer, a stereotype comes into your mind. When you see a plumber exemplified, you have a certain idea of what that plumbers look like, and they usually have a plumber's crack. There's those types of stereotypes. I think that potentially could be talked about, and I think you're right. There is a lot of stereotypes that we have been, I don't know, programmed. I don't know, just because of the culture that we live in, and I think they need to go away.
Right.
I think people are people. Like I've said in the past, we're all created for a reason, and no reason is better than the other. And so we just need to learn to work together and be able to allow people to be who they are and to pursue those things that are important to them. It's not my job to tell you what to do. It's not your job to tell me what to do. It's your job to come alongside me and encourage me. And when you're asked your opinion, to be honest with me. Because I'm a woman of faith. As I interact with you, if I see things that I think may be a hindrance for you, if I feel like I need to, I'll share with you at a point. But my main role is to pray for you and to continue to come alongside you and allow you to make the decisions that you need to make for yourself. I don't no matter what, if you have a plumber's crack or not. So, so I don't know. I don't like stereotypes, and this whole last year and a half has been about stereotypes coming to the surface. And you know what? Believe me or don't believe me, my family right now. I mean, I've been out of Idaho for a number of years. My personal family, is the color of the rainbow. We love each other. We hang out together. We're all doing life together. And some of these things that are coming about, I'm just like, oh, I don't understand for a whole lot of different reasons, I guess. So yeah, I don't like those stereotypes. I don't like white working class. What is it? What POC? I don't think people are people. I'm tired of all that stuff. But
yeah, well, but there is like some truth in the fact that I think that's part of it is kind of visibility, right? And then what it is that people see or are shown about a group of people that becomes problematic. When we're only showing one narrative for one person's experience, whether it's based on their skin color, their gender, where they grew up, how much money they have, they don't have. I mean, that's the problem with having just one narrative. Now, there are common characteristics often, maybe, or experiences within certain groups, because we do live in a society and a world that does treat people differently because of those things. Because there's old ways of living, there's, that thinking or whatever. And so I think that's just the reality of it, but you don't necessarily hear as much about like rural folks. I remember when I was watching the 2016 election with Trump, and I was really excited. Like, I wasn't excited about Trump like doing well. That's just my personal opinion. However, I was really excited to see that rural folks seem to matter. Like, their votes seem to be reflecting and mattering in a way that was impacting the election, which, I never grew up voting, doing that sort of thing. My family was like, who cares? Like, nobody cares about us. That was kind of the mentality. Like,
I get what you mean.
What's the power we have voting, say, for a president in like a small town in Idaho? So for me, it was exciting to see that folks who maybe weren't counted or didn't seem to matter or be seen are starting now to be seen, and not only seen, but also kind of like, I don't know, like focused on.
Gotcha.
Tracy has a comment here. It's fairly long. Tracy says, here's a question for you to explore, since you're looking for how do you think social media plays a role in your faith. I'm thinking about the song Truth Be Told by Matthew West. He specifically has a line in the song. There's a sign on the door says, come as you are, but I doubt it, because if we lived like it was true, every Sunday morning pew would be Every Sunday morning pew would be crowded. But didn't you say the church should look more like a hospital, a safe place for the sick, the sinner, and the scarred? And I think it ends there.
We have to look to the side here.
Is there?
Let me see. At the center. Oh, and that's all I got. So
That's just where it ends. do,
that's
you
true.
do you have a response to that?
Sure. I think that's the desire of the church's heart. I'm just not sure that that's the response that we get, and not because of the people inside the church. Because we got to remember, we're all there. We're all broken. None of us are perfect. And when we gather together and everyone's opinions come together, that's where people feel like they can't come in. You've shared in the past that you stepped away because of what you knew as the foundation of Christianity. And lots of people have that idea.
Right.
Lots of people think they have to dress a certain way to walk into a building. You don't. Lots of people think, now that's not to say that there's not some snarky person in there that's going to be a jerk to you.
Right.
Because we're all people, and you're going to have snarky, jerky people everywhere, no matter where they're from. So we just have to decide that we're going to be there and be there together for one purpose. Go ahead.
But there is kind of a culture of some church, I would say, like the big church, right? So, again, it's kind of a generalization that for a long time, you would be treated differently for those sorts of things if you were even allowed in the space, or, you did have to do certain things, or you weren't allowed to do communion, or you weren't allowed to participate in certain aspects, or you couldn't be in the temple, you had to be in another area, or, so I think also it's more about because I feel like church has always been helpful to take care of the sinner in a way of trying to save the sinner, or change the sinner, but trying to change parts of people that are not a sin. Somebody's sexual orientation, somebody's gender identity are not sins. What we do with those things, I believe we can experience sinful behaviors related to those things, but sometimes that's often kind of askew because of a lot of other things. But basically, to me, my understanding of sin is anything that takes me away from God, anything that pulls my attention, that pulls my spirit, that I get too caught up in to where God gets lost in that. And so, yeah, there's been times when I feel like sometimes we're forced to get stuck in our identities, especially say if you're queer, you're stuck being queer and you're not allowed to be religious because there's some sort of conflict. And that's maybe not the reality, but that's kind of how it's been. And so, there are churches and there are spaces where people are being better about that, and they're not trying to help those people. They're realizing that those people are us, they're part of us. And I think that you provide a service and you talk to people differently when you realize that they're of you and not outside of you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think you gave good description of the stereotype that Landa was talking about earlier. There are stereotypes all the way around us. So, but I agree with you on your definition of sin. I agree with you, and I believe that there's a lot of churches that play church really well with a lot of and live out those stereotypes.
Right.
But you're right. The church, we have to remember, is not the building. The church is each one of us. And so how I interact with people, how you interact with people is the church. And the only thing that makes you and I different is the way we pursue God. You know what I mean? And that's unique to us by design.
Right.
Because God made us all unique in design. And so none of us are perfect. We all have sin. And so that pursuit towards God is what pulls us closer to Him and allows us to expand in our ability to love, our ability to be kind, our ability to accept one another. So when I go into a building that just so happens to have a sign of a church on the outside, and I run into things I try to always give grace because I know I'm really broken myself. And if I notice in something, I try to make it a point to pray for that person, and if given the opportunity, um, get to know them a little better to see where they're at.
Mhm.
We all have hangups, so we got to work through those, and that's where the importance of being able to come alongside one another is so important.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's like the big thing. It's like, for me, I feel like what church does sometimes is it gets in the way of people connecting to God.
Mm.
Like for me, I feel like for me, it's been helpful just to go straight to the source. I just go straight to God. Um, and I don't have to worry about any middle people. Unfortunately and fortunately, many times I'm challenged to connecting with God on my own. And it is helpful to
Mm.
other people in my life to help facilitate that when I'm in a space that
Yeah,
I'm not able to kind of like do it on my own or experience it on my own or what have you. So I think that's the problem. Is I feel like a lot of the times um, I felt my experience in church only took me so far.
mm.
Uh, it taught me how, I don't know, I guess it just, until I really had to come to rely on God, um, and like got had a relationship with God, then I can go anywhere. Like I can go into any church and I can go any place, even if they don't like me.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I know where I'm at in my relationship with my understanding of God and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Just to kind of end the rest of Tracy's statement was, and the prodigals like me, social media highlights these false lives.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, I think social media can definitely have that. It can kind of highlight folks. Um, it can highlight. It's really interesting because I think it can highlight some things that maybe we wouldn't want highlighted in the way that it is.
Right.
However, one of the things that it also does is it also creates opportunity for more visibility for people and ideas that maybe wouldn't ever really come to at least mainstream.
I have a whole mix on social media, quite frankly.
Well, let's talk about it.
Well, social media can be very, very staged, very staged.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I don't follow people that all I see are staged pictures. Their life is perfect. They never have anything going wrong. Their hair is always gorgeous. Their children are always, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to. I don't want to do life or participate in life with those folks. But I also don't want to be around that person that has an emotional response to every little thing they see on social media, because I think that we have those two extremes. So social media can be used for a lot of things. People use it for marketing, for selling products, for doing those things. We use it right now to get our message out and to hopefully share and empower people to take some steps to rebuild some relationships that they maybe have lost because of decisions that they made. And I want you to know, just any decision, not just particular decisions that we've gone through, but any decisions. Our relationships with our family is very important. So I
Mhm.
get all that, but I am very picky about what I look at and what I allow come into my feed on my social media. Hence the reason why I don't have anything to talk about as far as the news goes, because that is one of those feeds that I don't allow in, because I have to be honest. I don't trust a whole lot of the news right now
Mm. Yeah.
from anywhere. I'd rather hear it from people that I trust, go out to places that I know, or just be ignorant and have no clue.
Yeah, I try to get a little bit of everything. Like I like to see and hear what other people are thinking and hearing. That doesn't mean I have to buy into it and I don't have to be affected by it. And there are some people I'm okay with hearing that from, and from other folks that I'm not. So I think it's kind of helped me to challenge myself a little bit. I wanted to just say some of the statements because we have gotten a
Yeah,
lot of
go for it.
uh, comments. Stacy says, that's right, sis, and stay true to yourself. You always have, and that's what I love about you. Tracy says, yes, staged for sure, Tina, when talking about staged social media. Stacy says, amen. And Tracy says, I wish I had my life as together as my social media presence does.
Me too.
LOL. I am real and truthful online, but still the snapshot in the time that people see from many months ago.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, Tracy.
But I think, I mean, I think just like with anything, it's like, I don't think removing social media though is the problem. I think in a lot of ways, social media can actually help reflect to you. Like if you're paying attention, you might actually, oh, what is important to me? I can look and see what is it that those sorts of things. I'll be really honest with you. When I first got sober and my lips are falling off. When I first got sober, I had a really hard time with God stuff because I felt like, my understanding of God at that time. And so prayer was something that was really hard for me. And so I actually, my goal was, and I did it on Facebook, but I was like, I'm not going to post anything that I don't really believe in and that I'm not really connected to. And so like, I would almost and I want to like be a person who encourages people to live their best life and to challenge themselves. And so I had to really and it was a good practice for me to be like, okay, so if I'm going to say this statement that I don't know, that I have integrity, then I have to really believe that I have integrity, and I have to take the action to go toward that. And so it helped me kind of frame, and sometimes I would say prayers or put things out in the universe as like what I would like to experience and what I want to reach to and strive to. And for me, it was kind of my connection to like my higher self, to God, and to like the world as a whole. And that was through Facebook. Like it's kind of embarrassing, but I feel like Facebook helped me have a better relationship with God and people.
And like I said, social media can be really, really good. And it just depends on what you allow to come into your feed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have Facebook. As I've gotten older, though, I will say my priorities for my Facebook change because, some things I used to do on Facebook before are things I don't enjoy so much now. So as I've become more mature, I do different things. But, there's nothing wrong with any of these social mediums. There are a few things that I've seen over my, I'm going to say short lifespan, right. that I think can be a negative in addition to the positive. Mm-hmm. I don't get to have conversations with people as much as I'd like. Mm. I text message. I get that, and I'll text message you. I'm just as bad as everyone else. I'd rather text message sometime than call but I miss sometimes hearing people's voices. Mm-hmm. and maybe it's heightened, but even before we went into all this pandemic shutdown stuff, that was something that I missed. I feel like there's a definite need for that. So I think social media takes away from that. It grieves my spirit when I see my family sitting around the table when we get together and they're texting one another or having another conversation in lieu of the conversation that sits in front of them. So for me, social media it's great. It's got a lot of great uses. I think we just all have to balance it and manage it in our lives. And like you said, not get too involved in some of the things that we don't think are healthy.
Yeah. And it says something when people take cleanses or like, they're like, I need to take some time away from social media. It definitely tells you that it can have a potentially toxic impact on you, just like alcohol could, or a bad relationship, or, how many other things are toxic to us, right?
Absolutely.
Stacy says, tell it like it is, Tina. And also, I agree, Tina. Facebook can give you a voice. I'm very careful about what I take from it.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. And and again, that's kind of like our power. We get to curate that to some degree if we choose to.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it is such an interesting thing because I remember, now sometimes I will get serious medical issue information, or I'll hear somebody died from Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I used to get upset with that. And then I just had to learn that that's just the way that it is for some people. And I also understand the inclination to, because when you have something like that going on, it can be so overwhelming
Oh yeah.
to tell that over and over and over and over and over and
Yeah.
over. So
Yeah.
I think if I had an opportunity just to be like,
Say it once and be done. Yeah.
forward to everyone, I could see the inclination of doing that as well.
That is a good thing about Facebook. Now, I have a friend who is struggling with cancer right now.
Mm-hmm.
She actually set up a private group so it doesn't go out to the universe, to everybody in the universe. And so she gives us updates on there, and I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
One, we don't want to all be calling and bugging, and then like you just said, she only has to say it once, or her husband can log on there and say, or whatever, and we can all encourage her there without her having to answer her phone all day long. So there's some positives in that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to get a message that someone dear to me see it for the first time on Facebook was in a car accident or was passed away or whatever. Like, you need to call me.
Right. Yeah.
Just saying, you need to call me with that. I don't care. I'll help you make calls after that, but you need to call me.
Right.
That would not be okay with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you guys for engaging with us about these topics. It makes our conversation more interesting. We always have a good time when we talk, but it's definitely more interesting when we can engage with you guys as well.
Yeah, it's nice to have like the prompts and also like to be able to have some interaction. So
oh yeah,
it's really nice. Thanks for joining us today and also interacting. And thank you even for folks. I know some folks are, you're at work, you're doing whatever, and so but you're still listening to us, because I've had people tell me that. So thank you for being here. And for folks who are listening to us on a podcast, thank you as well. If you want to watch this and other episodes, I figure I'll put this in right now because we didn't say it in the beginning.
I was going to say, wow, are we in commercial mode right now?
Anyway, I know. Well, we're like, because this is our second. This is our second. What's that?
We just kind of wing it anyway. So go ahead.
I know, right? Well, this if this is folks' first time and they're curious about other episodes, they can find it on our podcast, as well as on YouTube or on Facebook. So this is our second season. So we have 12, technically 13 episodes prior to this one. So we're definitely, we're just kind of, I don't know, filling it out, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this season's definitely a little different than last season.
Yeah, well, we like, I think that's the stuff. Like we just are now in relationship with each other. I think before we were telling people,
how we got to this point,
what had happened, and how we kind of got back together. And I think now we're just maybe trying to model what it looks like to be in a relationship with somebody who might seem very different than yourself. Yeah, Tracy said, I enjoyed the show. Thanks so much for sharing. Tracy also says, Miss Bonnie, do you do any makeup videos?
I said that to her already today. I was saying that she needed to do a makeup tutorial.
I feel like I'm not there yet. Like, I think it would be cool to do like a lip on my lips, because I feel like I've gotten the lips figured out, because I glue, for folks who are just listening, I have glued on individually stones onto my lips, so they look really rad, and it's kind of become my signature that I did once a while back. And so it takes a little bit of time, but I think it's worth it for the look. But I've only been really wearing makeup, like makeup, like less than a year, because I started doing drag about 3 years ago. But at that time I was a bearded queen, and so you didn't wear much makeup. And I also was like not trying to be, I wanted to be different. So like I only used rhinestones and glitter and other materials that weren't makeup to like make up my face and my my look. And so now I'm trying to blend those two worlds together, where I now that I have some face, because I shaved the beard, to kind of learn some contour. And I glued down my eyebrows for the first time today, which is something to do just to kind of open your eyes up a little bit more. Um, but yeah, Herding Cats for You says, great listening, interesting program and discussion. Glad you could join us. Hope you
Yeah, thanks so much.
As Stacy says, Bonnie, I'm so proud of you. I talked to the Pride about your platform. Please contact Pride so they can tune in. I will do that. I'll definitely get you the information. I'd love to have more folks be participating. Tracy says, wow, that might be a little too much effort for me. I love to do a video shoot with an epic look. Well, yeah, that can be a fun, just to like take some time and, spend some extra time on a look. It's like, I think it's just like with anything, once you like done something a few times, you just kind of get like better at it. It's like your brain just kind of like I can put my lips together like this pretty quick now. Stacy says, and you are different. That's the T. That is the truth. I am different. And it's worth celebrating and all of our differences, right?
Yeah.
Oh, now this really means a lot when Angel, Linda Summers, says that your brows look great. They look great because she's actually been really helpful for me when I'm feeling willing to hear how I could do better. She's a great person that I can talk to kind of help me
that's awesome.
Refine my looks a little bit while also trying to keep to me. Stacy says learning makeup is playing with it. Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think that's, if anybody is looking to use makeup and that sort of thing, playing is a lot of fun.
Can I just say, I've tried to do some makeup tutorials. It never turns out the way it's supposed to. I don't know if I just don't know. So it's funny. So you're right. You have to kind of, use this as a guide. Here's what I have. Now, how do I play with it and make it work for me?
Yeah. Well, and I think just like anything, when you can get to the point where you can just show up and do something that, like when you're not in your head trying to like figure things out or whatever, like it's just so much fun no matter what you do, whether you're playing a sport, whether you're singing, whether you're doing a podcast.
Now, I just need to say, you and my daughter Chantel are the only ones that I found that can pull off that green and blue lipstick.
Wow.
You had blue lipstick on in one of your other, was it last week on our episode or was it in one of your other shows? Awesome. Anyway, I'm like, they're the only ones. I actually I tried it in one of the stores. I'm like, oh no, can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I painted blue eyeshadow down on my lips for the blue. And then I used green stones on top of that. And then I used a green glitter in between the stones so that there's no glue that isn't sticky, so my lips don't stick together.
Oh, that's so crazy. See, that seems like that's hard to me. I just opened up the tube, done.
Right. Tracy says, Tina, you can do nailed it makeup tutorials with me. There you go. That could be fun.
It's a date.
Together.
Let's do it.
Whether you guys can do that together or you like get on the computer and do it side by side, I don't know.
It'll be fun. Either way, it'll be fun.
Definitely. Stacy says, Linda, you have a beautiful face. We can help you 100. Did I get that right? Linda does have a beautiful face. She is gorgeous. Yes, says Stacy. So we have about 10 more minutes left of our show. Is there anything that you would want to bring up, Tina?
Oh, sure. Pass it on to me.
Well,
I'm not offended. No, yeah. I was just kidding. I don't have anything at the front of my mind.
I could put you more on the spot.
Oh.
So what if we talk about your little project that you're thinking about?
Oh.
What would you like to say to talk about that? And maybe people would have an idea on what you should name it, or maybe
that's not a bad idea because I don't know what to name it.
Or they could encourage you.
Hi. Now see what you've done. Now I don't even know what to say. So, all right. So you didn't ask me a question there, so I really don't have to say anything, right?
You don't. I mean, I could say I could, share your tea. I could speak it for you, but
I'm just kidding. Um, so I've been contemplating going out and doing some, I don't know, what do you call it, public speaking or making my thoughts available out online. I've done just a tiny bit of that already, to see. I don't know how it's perceived. I love reading and studying the Word of God. And so my thought has been to maybe I should share some of the things that I've learned, some of the things I've experienced, and just see if it's something of use to the people around me by sharing it on a social media platform, actually.
yeah.
So, yeah. So, but I don't know what to call it. Um, so that would be something. If I'm going to log on, I feel like I have to have a name for it so that I can reference it. So I
Yeah.
don't know what to call it. And I don't know if I should do it on a live platform, if I should pre-record it and fine tune it. So those are some things I'm pondering right now as I plan to take a step of faith, actually, or what they call a leap of faith. Yeah.
I guess, well, and it's kind of like makeup. You just got to play with it.
Okay. I feel like I need some outside critique, though, because
Well,
makeup's just about what I like and what makes me feel amazing. I think this is something I need a little, oh, you need to say this, you need to add this way. I don't know.
I don't know. A lot of successful people you hear, they did them. Like you do, like it's do what you love and what you like over and over and over. Like, and I think people are drawn to that. And at the end of the day, if you don't love what you do, then why be doing it?
Right.
And I think oftentimes, I mean, I've seen people who are really into whatever they're doing. Like you might not like get it. You're like, I'm not really into doing that myself, but that person is very passionate. They're very connected. They're very like, you could tell that they're getting so much life from, doing that particular thing. And I'm excited actually to hear you do some Bible studies, and I think it would be really good for other people to get a chance to hear your wisdom. And, I'm always impressed with your ability to bring everything back to God and your understanding of the Bible and different things. And you're somebody who, you are a conservative Christian. You've said that, and there are plenty of other conservative Christians who would not be able to, be in the same space as me. And a person like me would not think that you would have anything worth saying, right? So I feel like the idea that, like even as you and I having this relationship, like I would love for I think it would be really healing for like people like myself who have been harmed by church at times to hear somebody speak in a life affirming way. You know what I mean? Like, I think it could be really powerful and healing for, I think some people within my community who are looking to try to heal from, trauma and pain caused by a Christian community, to have somebody speak truth and healing and to somebody who's been in pain, like that can be really powerful. And you can help people like yourself, or other folks who are grappling with having people in their lives who are, maybe different, and, trying to find a way to be with them and hold truth to your faith and your understanding of God.
Oh, thank you for saying that. That encourages me. So it's just taking that step.
Tracy said, I would love that. You are super amazing. This project is perfect for you. And Stacy says, talking with Tina.
Oh, that's so funny because that's along the lines that I had asked my husband about.
Yeah.
And you had said actually talking with Tina.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had thought, oh, but maybe it should be just Tina.
Well, and Stacy said I would talk with her.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Stacy.
Talking with Tina. I like talking with Tina. I know one of the things that you wanted to do, though, is you also wanted your message to be like not church or not like a sermon and not like corporate, but just something that's more casual. I don't know if casual is the best way, but more intimate, maybe.
Maybe. I don't, there's so much sermons and Bible studies out there. I just want to be real.
Mm-hmm.
I have real life experience that has allowed me real life understanding, not only of myself, but of who I believe God is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be valuable for someone. And then I've always felt like my life is not my own. It was bought with a price. And so I don't want it to be just about me. I'm grateful that God has sustained me and moved me forward to this point in my life. But I know there's other people out there who are struggling with some of the same things, or that can learn from some of the same mistakes that I've made, or some of the same things, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want it to be, I don't know. I just want it to be useful to God and useful to the people who are in pursuit of Him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like sometimes I feel like that's the only thing we really have to offer is what our experience is.
Yeah.
Our
That's the only thing we know. Our testimony.
Right?
That's right.
Tracy says suggested morning coffee with Tina.
Oh, that's good too.
That's cute too.
I'm writing these down.
Well, and I like the idea too that people are like, both of these are like people wanting to engage with you, rather than like you talking at them. It's more about let's have a talk, or let's I don't know. You know what I mean?
So maybe it's something more like this, with an open mic for people to just.
Well, then you would have to go live.
I know. So what do you guys think about that? Is this a good platform to do this, or is it something that's pre-recorded that people just listen to after?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, and it could be a combination. You could do the beginning of it could be like a lesson or a talk or a thought, right? Or however way you want to do it.
Yeah.
Start out with something and then have a time where you end up, talking with folks who come in to listen, or maybe even you have a guest or two who wants to talk with you about your lesson, whatever. I mean, those sorts of things. I mean, there's so many ways that you could go in that. Stacy says, amen. You just step out on faith.
Amen. Thank you for that encouragement. Maybe I should have Stacy and Tracy do a Zoom meeting with me and give me some brainstorming ideas.
There you go.
Are you guys up for that?
Stacy and Tracy. That sounds like a nice duo.
I know.
Next there'll be the Stacy and Tracy show.
I know.
Or the ACs. I don't know how they would say that. Stacy says, okay.
Okay.
She'll talk with you.
Okay.
We'll get you guys connected. Well, we're getting right at that point of an hour. I don't like going more than an hour because then I have to edit for Instagram and she hates that. So thanks everyone who joined us today. We are here every Monday, wherever you're listening to us now. If you're live, we'll be here again next week at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're in Arizona, that's 11:30. If you're in Chicago, it's 12:30. And if you're in New York, you're 1:30. I just had to put it all out there.
I was going to say, I'm impressed that you know all that right up there.
Right. Tracy said, I would recommend looking to others you like and finding what you like about their programs, like Joyce Meyer.
Okay.
And Tracy also says, let's do it. She's ready to help.
Awesome.
Stacy sends her love, and we send all of our love to you as well.
You guys, thank you so much.
Yes. Do you want to send us out, Tina?
Sure. So it is such a privilege, you guys, not only to just share this space with Bonnie, but to have you guys interact with us. So just know that we are blessed because of you, and that we want to encourage you as much as you've encouraged us. So have a fabulous day, and we'll see you guys next week.
And play that outro.
Mwah.
Splintered Grace podcast is brought to you by a queer chaplain. Follow us on all of our social medias, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at a queer chaplain. Listen to us wherever you listen to